Every episode, I talk a lot about my love of Spreadshop t-shirts. And it's funny, I'm not wearing one today. But even more than shirts, I love art. I dream of winning the lottery and just building a crazy car and art collection because in my brain, I think that'll make me happy.
Be happy. What is happy?
So as you can imagine, I've done a lot of research on selling and buying art. And today, I'm going to share a little bit of what I know.
Well, tell us already.
Hey everybody, I'm Saul Colt, the host of the Licensed Print Money Show, powered by Spreadshop. The goal of the show, for as long as they let me do it, is to show creative people how to make money from their creative life. So I hope you've subscribed. I hope you've smashed that bell. You get all the notifications because every Tuesday and Friday, we cover new ways to generate income from your creative life. Growing audiences, launching podcasts, secrets to selling merch, and today we're going to talk about, selling art. Speaking of merch, the show is sponsored by one of my favorite brands in the world, and of course I'm talking about Spreadshop. I've had a Spreadshop for over a decade, and in my opinion, they're the very best online solution for selling all kinds of merch like clothing, bags, all sorts of things. And, when we talk about all sorts of things, we're going to talk about a few different things in this video. So get ready to hear Spreadshop a lot. So if you're a designer or an artist or a photographer, at some point in time during your career, you will probably decide to start offering limited edition or not limited edition prints of some of your favorite work. That if you're not well known, if you're not famous, it's always a good idea to sell your prints with an added sense of scarcity or, limited editions, as the kids call it.
Okay, so this is a limited edition.
Because it's the way you can court collectors and sometimes even galleries to purchase or represent your work. Knowing that there are only a limited number of prints and sizes available increases the gravity of the buying task, or if, nothing else, it just makes the perceived value a little higher. I'm not even sure what gravity of the buying task means, but I read it somewhere. So if you're making some limited edition prints, you want to think of a few things. You want, how many prints are going to be in the edition? What are they printed on? And, am I going to sign them, not sign them, date them, all those things. So let's break that down. So how many prints should you produce in an edition? Honestly, and I'm telling you this honestly, there are no hard and fast rules here. It's entirely your choice.
This isn't the time to make hard and fast decisions. This is the time to make mistakes.
But you should put some real thought into how many you really think you can sell, because sitting on inventory for a long time, it's a little embarrassing. But you also have to remember that if you're playing with inside the rules, then once the run is sold out, that's it. There are no more, and you can't go back and do it again unless you do it in another color or something like that. Another factor to include in your decision is how you are making the prints. If you're, if you're looking for something really, a specific paper or, all those sort of things, or you're going to do it yourself in the darkroom, you may want to have a smaller edition of those since they're time consuming and a challenge to create.
I'll make it myself right back there with the little lemon twists.
If the prints are created at a printing service using archival papers or materials, you should do the print run all at once. Or, if you're using something like Spreadshop, my favorite for everything, then you don't have to think of anything because they will only print your work as it is ordered, and that is attractive because there's no upfront cost for you to put out in production. That being said, I did this, the other day. I think I did it with this hand, and I really liked it. That being said, if you're not going to go, if you're not doing the print-on-demand model, you can label the prints as artist prints, and these sometimes can fetch a higher price than the numbered editions. Remember that a smaller print run indicates an exceptional value to the buyer, or like I said, perceived value. So whatever you do, don't break the trust of the collector and go back on your word and make more prints than you originally decided for the edition. It'll quickly devalue your work, and worse than anything, it'll devalue your reputation.
I'm surprised you haven't heard about me. You know, I got a bad reputation. I mean, sometimes I just go nuts like...
But you also have to remember, you don't have to make printed limited editions at all if you don't want to. You can, make a zillion of the same thing as long as you don't say, it's one of whatever. It's also really important to choose what sizes of prints you want to offer in your editions. If your edition run only has, 5 or 10 pieces, you may want to only sell, you may not want to sell different sizes at all, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't offer different sizes. And, you can offer everything from 4x6 to 20x24. I would say if you're going to offer a couple different sizes, only do 2 or 3 at most.
Seriously though, size doesn't matter.
Oh, when doing multiple sizes in a print run, it makes it more attractive, and it allows you to lower the production cost and maybe reach a broader audience. So there are advantages to it, but it also, I think it sometimes confuses people as well. You also got to be thinking about choosing a printer. The next thing you'll want to start researching is finding a printer that can deliver the highest quality prints. You may be fortunate enough to find a printer in your area that, or you could find, photo or art printing services that specialize in creating high quality archival prints. If you have, that kind of network or anything like that, you can always ask, other photographers who are selling editions, and they may tell you where you get your prints done. You also may get lucky and find a printer that can do both the printing and will ship directly to your client. It's going to cost extra, but it'll free up more time, more of your time, so you get back to creating more art. Or you could use Spreadshop to handle everything for you. Go Spreadshop.
Ask Patrick. He loves them. He loves them.
Some of the things you might want to look out for when you're, looking for a printer for your art and your photos and stuff like that is, you should ask yourself a couple of these things, or at least find out a couple of these things. The type of printer and pigments they use, the various papers and finishes that they offer, and, who are some of the clients that they create prints for. All these things will help you make an informed decision of who you should work for, and also understand kind of the value that you're getting for whatever price they offer you. So, you've decided on your prints, you've decided on where you're going to get them printed, all that stuff. Now you're going to, figure out if you're going to sign your prints, and people really like that. So, this isn't just a matter of where to place your signature on the print, but it's also, adding the title, edition numbering. My suggestion when creating your prints is don't make a borderless print of your image. A full bleed print will leave you no space to sign, and you don't want to sign on the actual image. Signing directly on the image will result in a discoloration of the ink that could affect the print in that area, making just kind of like a stain. Print your image so there is a border around the image, and leave a larger border, approximately twice the size of the other borders at the bottom. This is the space that you can now begin your labeling. Okay, on the bottom corner outside the image, bottom left corner, start with the edition number. And this is, we talked about before. Is it 1 of 10, 1 of 20, 1 of 50, whatever it is. And of course, I hope 1 of 10 means it's 1 of 10, then you'll go 2 of 10, 3 of 10. You don't make them all 1 of 10. Then at the center, right, the title of the piece. Then lastly, on the bottom right, you put your signature. Now, if your prints can't accommodate this information, sign the back of the print in the bottom right area with the same information. I have a painting that I bought from a famous painter person that I really admire. And on the back, he's Italian. He wrote in Italian. I had to get it translated. He wrote, this painting was painted by, and his name. And I always thought that was really cool. If you use a matte finish paper, then your signing can be done with a soft lead pencil. If you're using a semi-gloss or glossy finish paper, then you'll need something that'll make an indelible mark that will also not affect the archivability of the paper. My recommendation are felt tip Sharpie markers, but there may be better options. I just use Sharpie for everything because I love Sharpie. One thing a lot of people don't realize is you actually should be keeping records of your editions. Keeping track of what editions you have out, who purchased them, and how many are left is really important. It's also important to record who purchased a print and, was it what number in the edition run, all that stuff. Especially if a gallery has some of your editions, you'll want to keep them updated on what you've sold from the same edition run. They may have, in their inventory. You'll need to keep track of how many prints in each edition you have sold. But thankfully, any of the spreadsheet programs that are cloud-based or purchased will help you out tremendously. It's not hard.
Probably somebody punched the wrong numbers into a spreadsheet.
Don't get intimidated. You can track, all of your prints in one spreadsheet with columns laid out very simply. Just put purchaser's name, title of the image, explain any unique numbering system for each print, the size of the print, the edition number. So this person bought 3 of 5, whatever. Payment, how did they pay? Has it been paid? Has it been delivered? Is the transaction completely finished? And put dates for everything as well. The other method is to do a spreadsheet for each edition if you want to do that. That way you don't need a title column or image column. You can just do a single spreadsheet for every single different piece. But, it depends on how many you're putting out. Or if you're really old school, you could use a ledger book, but that's really, really old school. Who actually writes on paper anymore? But also remember, another reason you want to know who bought your work is so you can build a relationship and hopefully get them to buy more of your art in the future. Send them holiday cards, send them birthday cards if you know when their birthdays are. All that stuff is really important. Also important is where to sell your prints. The obvious place is your website, and I hope that was obvious to you. If you have a website, that's the first place you should start to put your editions up for sale. If your website provider offers e-commerce options, that'll make it that much easier. When you put them on your website, provide as much information as possible about the image. How many are in the edition run? How many sizes? The material it's printed on? All the stuff we've talked about in the first 12 minutes of this video. Talk about everything. If you don't have a website, launch a Spreadshop store, and then boom, you've got a place to sell everything. It's so simple and free. I don't know why we're even still talking about it. Another place is social media. Social media is the next logical channel to sell your work. I think it's safe to say this is a must for not only artists, but almost every business to have a presence on social media. Which ones you choose is up to you. I always say you should be where your customers are, where your fans are, so you don't have to be everywhere. You can literally be just one place if that's what's working for you. Investigate each, figure out which one is good for you, and build up a funnel, a sales channel that you can really lean on and utilize. Facebook and Instagram both have ways to sell products through their platform, so those are a really good place to start. You should also be thinking about art galleries. If you have art galleries in your area, you should approach them to see if you can sell your work there. Most galleries have a gift shop and even an area where artists can sell their work on consignment. Look around and see what kind of art they're selling and, what are the price points? Do you fit in with what they're offering? Art fairs are also really cool. Art fairs are a great place to sell your editions to serious collectors. If you live in a smaller community, the art fairs may lean more towards craft sale than art fair, but every one of these craft things, or even Christmas fairs, you always see some people with art, and the art fairs in bigger cities have high fees for their display booths, but they also attract more than the average person who wants to look at art. So, do your research. The other thing is the art fairs market to galleries, curators, publishers, and art buyers in the region who will come and look for artists that they can represent or commission. So it's really important that your booth looks great, your work looks great, you have some collateral to share with them, and know your pitch down pat.
Craig, give me the elevator pitch.
Okay.
There's also a bunch of online galleries, that will sell work for you. Research them, read carefully on their website, understand what their commissions are, understand, what type of art they carry, who they work with, not only those things. So it's really important. Some of the better online galleries I've encountered have art advisors that can help the buyer find what they're looking for. Investigate, will these people work for you? Investigate their return policies. Check the reviews from people who have purchased from them. I've seen online galleries that also take commissions for the artists they represent. The buyer picks the artist from their roster, sends in the specs of their commission, and then the artist will send them updates on how the work is progressing. And I've said this a few times before, but online galleries, Spreadshop, open a Spreadshop store. And the reason you should open a Spreadshop store is because print-on-demand websites like Spreadshop are also very popular. You don't have to worry about order fulfillment. You upload your high-resolution image, you pick the sizes you want to offer, price them, and the service will take it from there. They will print and ship your work to the client, and you can also put your work on bags, shirts, and a whole bunch of other items, so you're not just staying in the box of art prints. But like everything else I've talked about, do your research. Make sure you understand the policies when it comes to returns, refunds, shipping. Find out what you're responsible for and what they will cover. Spreadshop is the best in my opinion, but always, always, always do your research. One thing a lot of people don't talk about is there are a lot of local businesses that would love to show your work. Hair salons, coffee shops, restaurants, professional offices. I think this is a great way to get your work in the face of as many people as possible when you're just starting. Many artists don't put a lot of thought into hanging their work in a business as they would if you were a gallery, but they should. You could curate pieces that will suit the space you'll be hanging them in. Also, you should have an agreement in writing that outlines who is responsible for the work. And when I say responsible, who's taking care of it, should it be damaged or any of that stuff. If the business wants the art moved, you should be contacted to do the moving. Also include how long the work will hang for. I think that the last one is so important because if the work stays there for many, 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 many months without selling, you've essentially decorated their place of business for free. And that's cool if that's what you want to do, but you have to be business-minded. You have to be sales-minded.
I dig the way you do business, man.
Other things you can do, of course, the most obvious, have an exhibition of your work. An excellent way to showcase your work and to sell your editions is by having an exhibition, that's right, at an art gallery. Start locally, but also have a look at some of the galleries in the major metropolitan areas that handle the type of work you create. Develop a body of work on a central theme or idea, and once you've found a gallery to submit to, follow their submission guidelines, which are usually on their website. Once your opening date is secured, and believe me, it's not easy, but it does happen, you'll want to make sure that you send out press releases to the media in the area. Ask the gallery if they have a mailing list that you can include a promo piece in, and if they know of any art buyers or curators that you can invite to the show. When everyone arrives, be sure to try to meet as many people as possible. It's, again, relationships. Seek out the media people and those in the art business. There's nothing like meeting them in person so they can get to know you and get to know your work better. Relationships are so important. But also is having a catalog printed of the images in your exhibit. This is great for a potential buyer who doesn't want to make an impulse buy. They can take the catalog home and peruse the work at their leisure. It can be printed, it can be PDF, whatever, but have something that they can take with them so they can make a true buying decision. Limited editions are a great way for you to reach a new audience with your photography, your art, whatever, than just selling mass-produced reproductions. But remember, it's so important you're creating. Why you're doing is you'll create a new revenue stream, increase the perceived value of your work, and you can sell it at a higher price point. And speaking of pricing your work, guess what? That is the next video. So this was a long one. This was a mouthful. My mouth is dry. I know I've mentioned Spreadshop a few times in the video, so this will be the last time. What is Spreadshop? You're banging on your screen asking. Well, by now I hope you know, but in case you don't, Spreadshop is the ultimate solution for creating and selling custom merchandise online. Spreadshop offers an extensive range of very high quality products, including t-shirts, hoodies, hats, bags, etc., 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 and art prints, of course. Simply upload your designs and Spreadshop takes care of all the heavy lifting. No need to worry about production, inventory, or fulfillment. All you have to do is visit www.spreadshop.com today and tell them Saul sent you.
Hey, was that Saul I saw leaving?
And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more tips to fuel your creative success. Until next time, let's keep selling stuff, because that's the secret to everything.
Limited edition signed in the mold with a photocopied certificate of authenticity.